You may know successful entrepreneurs. You may be disappointed that you haven't yet started the new Facebook or the new Google. You may wonder whether you have what it takes to become a successful entrepreneur. And you may be thinking, you know what, maybe it's time to give up on the wishful thinking and to go back to a real job. Well, the good news for you is that every successful person has started by failing. Winston Churchill said it best: success is going from failure to failure. And I'm no exception. I failed over 5 companies by now. The first one I had didn't last more than 2 weeks. My second one, I never had a single client. I cold for 6 months with no result. I dropped out of university. When I tried to write my first book, it never went past the stage of the little 1-page proposal. And I'm proud to have given 2 TED Talks, to have been awarded the UK Business Speaker of the Year, runner-up position, and to have published 2 books this year, to be running 3 social enterprises that are all more or less successful, depending on how you look at it. But what surprises me is that whenever I'm invited to give a talk, whether it is at LSE, at a business, or within a charity, I'm often asked to talk about my successes. And I'm rarely asked to talk about a failure. When people meet me, the answer that I often get to explaining a bit about what I do is, wow, you're so lucky to be doing what you're doing. And I never hear anybody tell me, wow, I bet you must be working your ass off every day, and I bet that you failed so many times before getting where you are. But we don't tend to like telling these stories or hearing about these stories because they're not the glamorous, successful story that the newspaper tends to portray. My favorite answer from Lady Gaga was when she was asked at Google about at what point she realized that she was going to be an international superstar. And her answer was, I still don't feel like one. And that gives you a bit of a flavor about successful people. It is not about the successes they have, it's about the attitude and the way they look at their success and their failures. The best advice I had around failing was when I asked Marcus Orlovsky, who I'd heard talk 5 times about his amazing success story. And I went to him after the 5th time saying, I've always heard about all your successes, but you never talked about the failures. Could you give me an advice as to how I can fail more successfully? The question shocked him a little bit, so he had to pause and think. And after a couple of seconds, he gave me an answer that I never forget. If you're gonna fail, fail quick. So, this video is an introduction to the Prezi behind me, and what you will see in this presentation is a bunch of videos around the theme of the success of failure. They're in no particular order because you all have different stories, and what I want you to do is to stroll through these videos, watch one a day for the next 2 months. There are a bunch of articles. Read an article every week from one of the big newspapers or big universities on why failing is so important for learning and for success. You also have a bunch of quotes there. Pick your favorite ones and plaster them around the walls in your house, in your office. There are a few examples about failures in there also. And please send me your story as you're failing. Write a blog every week about how successfully you are at failing, because I promise you that the more you fail, the more you will succeed. So, I look forward to hearing from you. as to how successfully you have failed and how it has brought you to an eventual success that we want to share with everybody. I hope this video was useful as a little introduction on your journey to failure. Thank you very much.